Okay, so we're gonna go on to the sketch, and at this point, I know I left off at this at this area right here. I'm gonna press my zoom tool just real quick, just so I can zoom in. Truth be told, I haven't really worked on this comic just yet, meaning from the template in the past few days. Been a little bit busy, but I do know I left off at this bird's eye view because I wanted an intimidating shot, and just in general, just think like Avengers. Whenever you want like a villain to look more powerful than than the heroes, you always want to have, not always, but typically you'll have like your villain character be, the camera will be above their shoulder, and then you see like the little tiny I guess the people who would be underneath them. So, and that's the feeling that I want to convey in this shot. And so the next part is just figuring out what would be the next logical expression. So when I look over here, let me see if I go back to the template. I see his expression up here. I see this. This is like the big reveal of like this ginormous ride. And I'm going to need a transitional shot. So I'm going to look at what my options are. And then for my options, I can tell that I want the story to go faster because we got his reaction. And she's going to, just to get rid of these nachos that are in his hand. If you want to call them nachos, they look like a fish. She's going to say, like, finish those fries up so we can go. Or nachos or whatever. So I'm going to stick with this. So at this point, I'm going to need my lasso tool. So here's my lasso tool. I'm going to just quickly select this just rough idea. And I'm going to go to edit, copy. I'm going to go back to my template. And I'm going to press Command V as in Vicky to paste it in. And a lot of times students who are, again, new to Photoshop, they keep on forgetting to, they need the move tool because, our iMacs in the classroom or whatever machines we're having, chances are they're not touch screen. So that's why we use a lasso to select something, and then the V as in Vicky, the move tool to move things around. So I can already tell that in my layer section within my roughs folder that my layers are going to get, pretty robust. There's going to be a lot of layers. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I want to start collapsing them. And an easy way to do that is by simply selecting, well, I do know, for example, this is the last layer that got selected. Chances are this big one on page 2 is that one. So I'm going to select layer 5, which is this layer right here at the bottom. And I'm going to hold down my shift key. And when I hold down my shift key, I'm going to select layer 1. Because I know that these 5 layers are all represented right here in page 1. So I'm going to merge these 5 layers together by pressing and holding down the command key. And then I'm going to just click the letter E as in echo on my keyboard. And you'll see that immediately everything that's on page 1 gets collapsed into just one layer very conveniently. So I'm going to rename this layer 5 by double clicking it, and I'm going to type page 1. And I'm going to purposely click on layer 7, and that's the reason why is because every time I paste a new layer, I want to make certain that it gets placed above. So that's the reason why I'm going back to layer 7. I could rename these, but if either way I'm going to end up collapsing or merging selected layers together, they end up just keeping whatever like the last name is. So it doesn't really make any sense for me to rename these just yet. So anyway, we have this imposing shot of the ride, and at the next part is the the female character. She's gonna she's asking our main character, what is it? Actually, not asking, but telling him, hey, finish up those fries, those nachos, or whatever we decide to make them at the end, because I want to get on the ride. So when I go to the next one, I see that I see that I have an expression here where like finish the fries up so we can go, and then the next logical what is it, frame is like I'll go make line. I'm going to combine these together. And what I mean by that is I'm going to get my lasso tool, L for lasso, and I'm going to select this face right here, Command C. I'm going to go to my final template. I'm going to press Command Vicky. I'm going to get my move tool, which is just Vicky by itself, or just clicking this move tool. I want to move this face over here. Notice how in this case I didn't get the frame. Instead, what I got was just the expression. So I'm going to enlarge this expression by pressing holding down the command key, and then clicking the letter T. I'm going to hold down my shift key so I can make this a little bigger. And it just occurred to me right now, by making this bigger, have you noticed that it just feels like she's closer to us? And I kind of like that because it adds a sense of movement to the frame. Like, there's motion happening. So not only is she saying, hey, I'm going to go make line, but it just seems like from here or here, she's actually moving forward. It just feels like there's like a subconscious thing that's happening, and I like that. So that's layer 8. Here's a little tip. If you just hold down your command key and press the letter E on your keyboard as an echo, it'll merge whatever layer selected with the bottom layer. So now this layer 7 is now combined together with the previous one. So anyway, I kind of like this just because it's moving the story along. So let's see. So finish up those fries or those nachos. I'm going to go make line. So the next thing, I'm going to go back to the sketch. I'm going to look for whatever is the next logical, what is it, shot. I'm going to press M on my keyboard. I'm just going to select this frame, and I'll tell you why this one, even without the face. I'm going to hold down the command key, and I'm going to click the letter C, as in Charlie. I'm going to go back to the final template, and I'm going to press Command Vicky. At this point, I'm just going to press the letter V on my keyboard, and the reason why is because M on my keyboard is my rectangular selection tool. So Vicky, if you look carefully, will select my move tool, and I'm going to move this frame right here. And the reason why I want to move this frame here is because what I plan to do, and I can just do that actually right now, if I press B for brush, and I'm just going to paint some white right here, and I'll tell you why in a second. But before I do that, I notice that my foreground color is black and my background color is this green color. So I'm going to quickly just click on the letter D as in Delta, and that's going to default my colors to black and white. After that, I'm going to press the letter X on my keyboard as an X-Men, and that just swaps it so that whatever's in the background color, it becomes the foreground. And I'm going to make my brush size a little larger by pressing the right bracket key, and those bracket keys I think I mentioned earlier are to the right of the letter P on your keyboard. I know I'm saying a lot of letters, but right bracket just to make my brush bigger. I'm just going to add this because I'm going to add a quick little, just a little balloon right here. You see how rough this is. Next thing, B for brush, which I already have. D to default the colors back to black and white. I'm going to make my brush size smaller now, so that's my left bracket key. Left bracket, left bracket, left bracket. And I'm just going to test it out over here. Yeah, that's pretty good. So the reason why I'm going to do this is because I want a word balloon. I'm just kind of feeling this right here. Or maybe this word balloon is, I think what I'm gonna, I'm not yet decided, but I'm going to put like daddy, daddy. And at this point, I'm going to go back to my sketch. And you can see here that there is this next frame that I drew.